Ali, 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 yeah. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7.
Family, gratitude. Islamism without the schism. Want to rise upon the 7 and give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to His holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Can you hear me, Morris Ken? I think somebody got their line open. Islam, Moorish America. Want to rise upon the 7 within the circle of justice, mercy, love, and right, and give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to His holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. But let us come forth with our ancient committee and adept Moorish American prayer. And as we come forth, we ask that you open up your hearts and minds as we open up the way. Islam, Islamism. Ya Allah abnu heru makuneteru. Ya Allah abhed heru. Ya Allah ma'at heru. Ya Allah hutep heru. Ya Allah heru. Ya Allah ma'at herakuti. Ya Allah ahwajeta juti. Ya Allah per im tutek per im heru. Ya Allah bamaduti. Al-Hajjat Shapsis Rab to Ali. Amin. Haliyas. And that is the same Moorish kin in transliteration. O Allah, the Father of the universe. O Allah, the Father of love. O Allah, the Spirit of truth. O Allah, the Spirit of peace. O Allah, the Spirit of freedom. O Allah, the Spirit of justice. O Allah, you are my protector. O Allah, you are my guide. O Allah, you are my salvation by night and by day. O Allah, through your holy prophet, O Allah, Drew Ali. Amen. Holy Issa, Islam, Moorish kin. And now we come forth before you with the divine constitution of Moorish America. Salvation, our God, unity. The 7 supreme constitutional acts of law. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the Chairman of Moorish America empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of Moorish America. The assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs, if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the citizens of Moorish America. The bylaws. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly, according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh. On a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all citizens of Moorish America. No citizen is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All citizens must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all citizens must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you're part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. No organization of Moorish America is to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all citizens must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live in the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All citizens must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a parcel of all uplifting acts of Moorish America. Moorish Americans must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of Moorish America, and then you're entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God Allah. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, peace and blessings be upon him, founding father and framer of the divine constitution and bylaws of Moorish America. And now that this meeting has been opened according to the Triune Acts, Acts 1, 2, and 3 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, we say Islam, Islam, Islamism. The providence of Allah is ever all his works. He ruleth and directeth with infinite wisdom. He hath instituted laws for the government of the world. He hath wonderfully varied them in all beings, and each by his nature conformeth to his will. Shemo Tepu Moorish King. Peace and love.
Islam, Islam, Islam. Gratitude to our National Assistant and Chief for opening up the way according to law. I am the National Grand Secretary of the state of Indiana, Dr. Sai Natanu L, and we rise giving perfect praises to our Father God Allah and the highest honors to our Holy Prophet El Haj Sharif Abdul Ali. Honors to all of Act 1 and our theocratic Moorish American government. Honors to our Grand National Seal, our Grand National Emblem, and our grand national flag, the Moorish flag. Honors to our divine constitution and bylaws, and honors to all of you for being here in this grand Moorish perspective class. Islam, Islam, Islam. Chapter 58. Only instructions from the Prophet, know thyself. Weak and ignorant as thou art, O man, humble as thou oughtest to be, O child of the dust, wouldst thou raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom? Wouldst thou see omnipotence displayed before thee? Contemplate thy frame. Fearfully and wonderfully art thou made. Praise therefore thy Creator with awe, and rejoice before him with reverence. Wherefore of all creatures art thou only erect, but that thou shouldest behold his works. Wherefore art thou to behold, but that thou mayest admire them. Wherefore to admire, but that thou mayest adore there in thy Creator. Wherefore is consciousness reposed on thee alone, and whence is it derived to thee? It is not in flesh to think, it is not in bones to reason. The lion knoweth not that worms shall eat him. The ox perceiveth not that he is fed for slaughter. Something is added to thee, unlike to what thou seest. Something informs thy clay. Higher than all is the object of thy senses. Behold, what is it? The body remaineth perfect after it is fled. Therefore, it is no part of it. It is impartial. Therefore, it is eternal. It is free to act. Therefore, it is accountable for its actions. Knoweth the ass the use of food, because his teeth gnaw down the herbage, or standeth the crocodile erect, although his backbone is as straight as thine. Allah formeth thee as he formeth thee. After them all were thou created. Superiority and command were given thee over all. And of his own breath did he communicate to thee the principle of knowledge. Know thyself in the pride of his creation, the line uniting divinity and matter. Behold, a part of Allah himself within thee. Remember thy own dignity, nor dare to descend to evil or to meanness. Who planted terror in the tail of the serpent? Who closed the neck of the horse with thunder? Ever he who hath instructed thee to crush the one under thy feet, and to tame the other to thy purpose. Islam, Islam, Islam. Today is November 18th, 2023, and welcome again to another Moorish Perspectives class sponsored by our Moorish American government. Our host instructor is our National Assistant Grand Chief, Dr. Shadow Aminti and Moheji Shepsuel, with our subject matter coming out of our new chapter of the week, Chapter 58, Holy Instructions from the Prophet, Know Thyself. Ayat 1. Wouldst thou raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom? Wouldst thou see omnipotence displayed before thee? In Ayat 10. Behold, a part of Allah himself within thee. Gratitude again to our National Assistant Grand Chief for opening up the way according to law. And gratitude to the National Grand Secretary of the State of Indiana, Dr. Natimu Heparu L, for reading the chapter of the week and also taking registration. Moorish can kindly check your emails and keep your pens and papers on hand. At this time, we will call to the floor our host instructor, our National Assistant Grand Chief, Dr. Shadow Amenti of Mohedded Shepsuel. Islam, Grandman.
Islam, can you hear me, Goddess and Queen?
Clear as a bell. Gratitude.
Gratitude. Islamism. Without the schism. Want to rise first and give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal, Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution, and bylaws, and honors to all of you who are indeed a living manifestation and personification of everything. And I do mean everything that our holy prophet brought to make us a nation. I want to give honors to all of you, everyone on the manifest in this new era in time, that are here uplifting fallen humanity and here to demonstrate just that, the upliftment of fallen humanity. I want to welcome you to another Moorish Perspectives. Again, I'm your host instructor, Dr. Shahid Imani Mohadi Shabazel. And my ancient comedian high name being the same is Dr. Shedu Amenti El Muhajjed Shepsuel. And we got a grand drawing to bring on the manifest, little ground to cover, but not a whole lot, Moorish kin. But we definitely want to be thorough with what we bring forth to our family so that they can benefit from this information. We don't want to never come forth with any drawing where our people leave and they didn't have anything that they benefited from what it is that we brought forth. So we got a grand drawing to bring on the manifest, and it's going to be a powerful measure, and hopefully it will be something that will add on so our family can take these lessons and also share them with other individuals, share them with other people so that they too may be able to benefit from these great drawings that we bring on the manifest, because we don't keep secrets, we keep it sacred. You see? So we want to welcome our family too, who've been checking in, those who are currently on the manifest now, and those who have been on the manifest for some time, moving through the terrain with us. Honors to all of y'all who bear the name of faithful and don't even know, the degree of reverence, that we give you all for all it is that you do, just being here in this new era in time. So without further ado or delay, we have a grand subject title to bring on the manifest, and again, I give honors to our brother Arnil Bay, Dodd Iserian Bay, Facebook user, and all of those who are yet to come as well. Our subject title is dealing with the holy instructions from the prophet, Know Thyself. The holy instruction from the prophet, Know Thyself. That's the most important lesson and blessing that we could have ever been given as a people. Know thyself. In fact, when the prophet opens up his drawing, he says, know thyself and thy Father God Allah. So this is very important. We're not talking about any spookism. We ain't taking you out there in La La Land. But we taking you into the essence of your divine self. And Prophet Noble Drew Ali was not the only one who told us this. Our beloved brother Marcus Mosai Garvey also said the same thing. Our beloved brother Muhammad Ibn Abdullah also taught the same thing. The ancient teachers of Kemet also taught the same thing. So there's something that is important when it relates to this particular measure, know thyself. In other words, the golden cord of love run through the teachings that instruct us in the knowledge of self. And this is something that can be found no matter where you go. You see, and when you understand this, you can say, well, they all had something in common. So it must have been something important that no matter in what teaching, even in the teachings of Buddhism and Hinduism and Confucianism, all of them have a doctrine that relates to the knowledge of self. You see, when you look at it from a biblical standpoint, Quranic standpoint, these books, along with other ancient texts from Kemet, when we talk about the teachings, the Sabbath teachings, the teachings that deal with the laws of Ma'at, they all have to do with a knowledge of the self. Man. So this should tell us what it is that we should be instructing our people in. That should be the basis of what it is that we teach, and no matter what it is that we say we study. Know thyself. Know thyself. Right? Y'all already know I'm gonna get in the share my screen, because we know that the word know is at the root of the word knowledge. And there's a drawing in the teachings, in the Reliance of a Traveler, in fact. It speaks of, 1 hour of knowledge is better than a whole day of prayer. This is how important knowledge is. And it's also stated that the angels would lower their wings, for the believers who are seekers of the knowledge. And it talks about how knowledgeable of those who know their creator, how hard they are on the shaitan, or the devil, or the lower self. You see, when one is not knowledgeable, one can be misled. One can be run amok, led astray, whatever you want to call it. But when one knows, there's a whole different type of demonstration you're dealing with right here. Now, the ayat that we're pivoting from, and you can see it right here, as it is flowing across the bottom of the screen. Wouldst thou raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom? Wouldst thou see omnipotence displayed before thee? Contemplate thine frame. And then I went down deeper into the chapter and pulled out and extracted this portion. Behold, a part of Allah himself within thee. You say, wait a minute. Well, we understand you say know yourself, and we understand you speaking of raising your thoughts to infinite wisdom. So when you raise your thoughts to infinite wisdom, and we know wisdom speak from out of the highest plane of spirit life, that means you meeting wisdom halfway by raising your thoughts to infinite wisdom, because you can only obtain wisdom by raising your thoughts to infinite wisdom, yet wisdom speaks from out of the highest plane of spirit life. So you got to meet it halfway. That's a hand class. You see? Wouldst thou see omnipotence displayed before thee? What is omnipotence? Omnipotence is the highest station when you come from a state of dealing with what we call omnipresence, omniscience, or omniscience, and omnipotence. You see, all of this has to do with recognizing the powers that the Creator has put in you. You see? In other words, this is a saving power that exists in each and every one. It ain't got nothing to do with spookism. And if you study scientifically, you will know exactly what it represents. That's if you believe and you come from a degree of that belief into knowing, and then you come from the level of knowing into being, you understand that you are a conduit. You are a vessel. You are a vehicle that is utilized by the supreme reality. We can't emphasize this enough, family. You are the one whom you await. So if you're waiting on a Mahdi, then you the rightly guided one you've been waiting on, if you're rightly guided, right? If you're waiting on a Messiah, then in all actuality, Messiah is just a station. They done spooked it out and made you think, oh yeah, he's Messiah, he's coming. Yeah, in the essence of your being. That's why we speak, on the proof of our Messiahship. When you come to a state of fruition, that ain't saying nothing radical. Only reason you may think that is because you don't understand what that word means, Mashiach. You see? Or the Mesuaya. You go into ancient Kemet, you understand you speaking of the children of Aya, the children of Yah. You see? That's all the way back in the Kemet, because Messiah, is a Kemetic, these are Kemetic constructs, so to speak. You see? Don't get it twisted with Greek, because a lot of our people doing that right now. We touched on a measure last night because some of our people believe anything other than the fact that they can be one with the supreme reality. They believe anything other than the fact that the Most High, is expressing himself through them by means of intelligent design. They want to talk about evolution and that they come from apes and monkeys and all this type of stuff. You see? And they'll say, no, we don't really mean that. But I'm going to go a little further into this right here, family, because we have to give our people clarity, because they like to talk about, the common ancestor, those who believe they're scientific literalists, and we talked about this last night. And we tell our people, because we know in chapter 1, basically, we are told about what protoplasm is. And people don't know protoplasm really mean the first form man, but yet in his cellular state, his elemental state, his atomic state. You see? And this represents not man only, but the goddess along with the man. They were one at this state. It speaks of it in the Grand Quran, where there was a taking of two from one. You see? That sustenance that was meant to split into duality from oneness was not yet fully physical, but yet that original cell, that original elemental molecular structure, so to speak, is what was known as the common ancestor of everything in creation. Not just the human being, not just an ape or a monkey or all these other things they talk about, but the common ancestor of everything in creation, that molecular structure, that cell, that organism was the origin of all life. So now when we come into everything that evolved on the plane of things made manifest, the human has a common ancestor that's relevant to it. The ape has a common ancestor relevant to it. The monkey has a common ancestor relevant to it. They all have their own common ancestors that begin the branch of what they represent. But you can never say that a human produced, the ape, or the ape produced the human, so to speak. Now, there are measures in the Grand Quran and even the Piscean records that allude, to people being turned into an ape-like characteristic because of their behavior. One aspect of just violating the holy day. According to the Grand Quran, it said they were turned into ape and swine. I didn't say that. Go read, and look into the Grand Quran. You see? Go read chapter 18 in the Grand Quran. Go read the book of Job and see what they got to say about it in there. Go see what happened to that cat they called Nicodemus in the Piscean record when he didn't want to live in his higher self. And he was crawling around on all fours. So, if we want to get in there, I just wanted to add that in there just with a little divine humor. But nevertheless, we don't have to get into the detail of those stories because we want to specifically talk about the knowledge of self and the knowledge of being the God and one with the God that we are. This is not anything new. This ain't got nothing to do with exalting our throne above the stars of God, becoming Luciferian. It ain't got nothing to do with that. Because when they was trying to stone Yehoshua, he asked them, why you want to stone me? We're gonna put our measure on the manifest. We're gonna revise it right now. Why in the world do you want to stone me? I'm just trying to teach you the truth. Now you do know in the message that came to you, right? The Most High said that you were gods. And you do know that when he revealed this book to you, and he said that you were gods and the scripture can't be broken. You know what I mean? Come on. If you don't want to believe in me, at least believe the message. This is what the brother Yehoshua was saying to the people that were getting ready to stone him in the book of John. Y'all know this. I ain't even got to go there. Y'all done heard it before. That's why I ain't worried about trying to quote the chapter and all that type of stuff there. You done heard it now. This is knowledge. But he was actually quoting the book of Psalms. He was quoting, where it was stated, know ye not the ye of gods, and all of you are children of the Most High God. But it went on to say that one would die like men, like mere men. You see, it even say for there are lords many and gods many, but there's only one God. You see, it even say that in the Piscean records a couple of times. We told you about how he told Moses, see, I have sent you a God to Pharaoh. And your brother Moses, your brother Aaron is your prophet in the book of Deuteronomy. So all over the Piscean record, we see that. We see, as we tell you all the time, that the great God Allah told the angels to prostrate before the man. And we know why he said this, because he wasn't talking about the physical. He was talking again about what he had placed in man. What is that? Ru'Allah, the spirit of Allah. So we already know this. We know this represents the inner self. You watch it. We know this here. We already know it. We ain't got to go there. In ancient Kemet, they call that Wajet, the all-seeing eye. Some people call it the eye Heru, the eye Ra. That's the seat of consciousness within you. So I'm going through all these different texts to show you the same thing has been taught. And like I told y'all before, whether we know it or not, when we speak of Buddha and enlightenment, a lot of people don't know that Buddha represented the God self originally. Some people even equate the term Buddha with Putta, Atta, the divine craftsman who was on the manifest in the very beginning of creation, at least from the Kemetic cosmology, because there are different degrees of the ancient Kemetian cosmology. You see? So once you understand that all of these different texts are saying the same thing in different ways, and they are saying this all the way across the board, no matter what you study, and you understand that they all had that teaching of know thyself, this is why we tell you it is impossible for you not to believe in the reality of the personal Godhead. And if you don't, it's because you don't believe in yourself. It's because you're looking for somebody else outside of the self to save you. And even if you say atheist and you turn to what you consider scientific literacy as a doctrine, then you have made scientific literacy your holy book. So the author of that holy book, dealing with the cosmology, belief that you have in that, in which everything comes into existence, the author would have to be your God. So that means Darwin, whether you say it, professedly or not, whether you profess this and proclaim it or not, Darwin has become your creator. Darwin has become your God, if you don't know no better. But when you know self and you understand the Most High always manifested itself to us, whether he sent a love thought in the form of a prophet or a pure thought in the form of an angel, the Supreme Being always manifested his presence by the presence of man. This ain't got nothing to do with self-gratification, self-glory, self-worship. This has everything to do with a knowledge of self. And beyond that, all of the teachings in the modern time taught us the same thing. Know thyself. Now, you remember I was talking earlier about, this is special measure. We're going to get into the drawing of some of these words in a minute. But before we do that, you know what? I'm going to go into one of the definitions right now. And then I go into my other portion, touching on some of the measures of the master teachers that are paved the way with the same teacher, know thyself. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen right now. And we're going to go into the dictionary of the Quran. And I'm already there. And this is one of the many words that are used. Let me go ahead and try to open this back up. I see Ron want to play, huh? But there are many different definitions in here, family, that deal with the word knowledge. There are a whole bunch of definitions in here that deal with this word knowledge. And we can go through a whole bunch of them. Let me see here. Okay, this one right here brought us back here. There's one in particular that I want to touch on. Let's get there. I'll get there quicker this way. We can go through a whole bunch of them up here. But it's one in particular that I want to go to. Okay. And this is one of the most common one in the Arabic. We're going to go into some of the ones that I'm going by now. But I want to start with this one. Just give me 1 second. They closed it out as soon as I went in there. I'm going to keep my page too, so next time I go here, it'll be up here. Okay, we're getting back close to it now. Go a few more words. So there's many words that deal with knowledge, as you can see. But there's one in particular that I really want you to pay close attention to. Because this particular word, knowledge, is actually the word that was used in reference to science. Okay, yeah, I'm coming up on it now. All right, not that one. Okay, not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Okay, we here. We here now. Here we go. Okay, I see the page just in case it closed out again. So, alama is the word that we're looking at, family. If you ever heard them say ulama, which represent the scholars of Islam, it's connected to this word alama. And in fact, during the Crusades, there was called the splitting of the ilm. Sometimes they spell it ELM. Sometimes it's spelled ALM. When they said Nightmare on Elm Street, they made a movie, about this. An ilm actually means knowledge in Arabic. So imagine that. You see? A nightmare is where you actually lose the knowledge of yourself. Made you the American nightmare too, didn't it? America KKK, as the brother Ice Cube would say back in the day. But anyway, when you lose a knowledge of self, you lose a knowledge of reality, family. But Look at the definitions of these words. To mark, sign, distinguish. Alamun, sign, long mountain. Alamatum, mark, sign. Alima, know, distinguish. Alam, oblique plural. Alamin, by means of which one knows a thing. Hence, it signifies world or creation. So in other words, one knowing the world or one knowing the creator or creation, right? Because by it, the creator is known. You see? Any class or division created a created being or mankind, nation. So by the knowledge of dealing with, the Elamine, the knowledge of creation, and therefore have the knowledge of the creator through observation, study of self. So this is the word that's used for branches of knowledge, or what we call the science, as it relates to knowledge. And this is why we tell you, when you are able to study the book of creation, i.e., the book of your own being, you see, then you have the ability to know yourself. So outside of everything you ever read or everything you ever studied, what about the book of creation? What about the book of life as it relates to yourself? How much is it that you know about yourself? Since we know a whole bunch about things outside of the self, right? But what do we know truly about ourselves? Ain't that something else? We can take this whole body around and we know everything about everything else outside of the self, but we don't know nothing about the self. And we carry this with us every day. That's why Prophet Noble Drew Ali told the Moors, if you were to ask him what to study, he would tell you yourself. And if you were well done doing this, and you asked him again what to study, then he gonna tell you again, study yourself. Because when you have a full knowledge of yourself, then you also have a full knowledge of self-mastery. Self-mastery is key. This is what we teach. Like we tell you, we're not here to browbeat you over the head, and condemn you to the neither land. We're going to tell you, study self. The degrees that we teach within the chamber of self-mastery is know thyself. And then you will meet your hierophant. Then you will meet your mastermind. Then you will meet your master teacher. You see what I'm saying? It's that simple. But there are those who will spook you out and like to fake you out and have you searching, for a God outside of the self. And this hinders your ability to reach the true God within. They done fake you out. You looking everywhere. You already know the best way to hide something from somebody is put it right there in front of them. If the great God Allah told you close to you in your jugular vein, I don't know what else we can tell y'all. If he tell you remember him within yourself, then he will remember you within himself. If he tell you that right there, I don't know what else to tell you if you don't know that he in you. Or it's just in you to be what's in you. You see what I'm saying? It says, any class or division of created being, a mankind, nation, alam, Allah, insan. Insan is another name for man. The knowledge of the world of humanity, of mankind. Alam al hawanan. This is the animal world. See? Alam, right? All of these different aspects. So there's a common ancestor of al-insan. And this is really the perfected man. This is really Adam Kadman. But that's a whole nother measure. And there's a common ancestor again, for those in the animal kingdom. We do not descend from beasts, people. We may act like the beasts when we fall into the lower self, but we don't descend from that. And we even told not to descend into the meanness in this chapter we're dealing with as it relates to being like a beast. But anyway, in the animal world, ilm is not used to donate rational beings or angels, right? It says, Paris, in his dictionary and glossary of the Quran, the word signifies all categories of existence, both in the physical and spiritual sense. It indicates also that the ilm, the world, is not only that we know up to now, but there are numerous worlds to be discovered or known in the future. So it's giving you open insight to even what we call the metaverse and the true essence of what we call universe. So when we say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Rabbil Alameen, Lord of all the worlds, that means that he is the Lord of the human native plane. He's the Lord of the plant native plane. He's the Lord of the beast native plane of mineral. He's the Lord of all of the worlds, all the way down to the element in the cellular, which represents again the common ancestor that produced everything, the first formed man, yet not in his complete make, but man in his essence, his most rudimentary state. The Most High is the Lord of all of those worlds. And he reigns supreme through the beings that govern those special planes. He employs angels on every plane, in the plane of cosmo, in the plane of plant, the plane of mineral, and so forth. They have a job to do. In ancient Kemet, they refer to him as the Netaru. In Sumeria, they refer to him as the Anunnaki or the Ainu. And, you know, we can go on and on. They call them divas in India. Sometimes Mahatmas. We even have names for them in a lot of the texts of ancient Africa. But make no mistake about it, these are indeed manifests of thought, exercising thought activity. You see? And man is the one who has the ability to direct the thought. So man has the ability to conceive a thing in his mind, and he has the ability to bring what he has into his mind, in his vision, into the manifest. We have the ability to manifest all it is that we seek to create. This is what elevates us. Being who we are, contemplate that frame. You see? But anyway, it says at some places the Holy Quran has used this word to denote surrounding people of the addressed person or community. In this comprehensive sense, Allah is the creator and nourisher of the worlds, the all comprehensiveness of the lordship of Allah in the worlds. The Quran, Rabbul Alameen 1 ayat 2, is quite in consonance with the cosmopolitan nature of Islam. The word Alameen signifies all that is besides Allah, animate and inanimate things, including heavenly bodies, the sun, the moon, the stars, etc. You see what I'm saying? So you will hear about the nature of the moon, the nature of the stars, the nature of the sun. Same thing. This was not, you know, any type of polytheistic paganism as the European would have you believe. A people that don't come from the nature of divinity can't tell you nothing about being divine. That's the first thing we have to understand. When we know that they live based upon everything that deal with manifest materialism, we cut from a different cloth, family. It states ilm or ilm, science, knowledge, because before science was known as science, it was actually known as knowledge. Even philosophy, science, knowledge, learning, information. This word is not followed by men except when it is used in the sense of distinguishing one thing from the other. So this goes into the branches of knowledge, the branches of science, as I was speaking of earlier. For difference between alima and arafa, and that word arafa actually goes into Surah 7 in the Grand Quran, al-araf, the heights. But that's a whole nother measure, because the alamin was called forth in Surah Arafah. And they were asked to take the trust, but they refused. Everything in creation refused except man. Man was the one that was bold enough to say, all right, I'm trustworthy. I'm ready. I got this. And that's why man was given the responsibility of being the vicegerent, of being the Lord of the plane of soul, Lord of the plane of thing made manifest, of being the caretaker, of being the Khalifa. You see? You want to make sure you get it. God man. Ulama, alam, learn, knowing, wise. Alam, very learned. Now, you do know this is definition for one word now. You see how many words is taken to describe one word? And even though we are using all of these terminology, they still cannot trump the knowledge of the knowledge giver. So if I was translating and I would have used this dictionary to translate, it would be my choice to choose whichever terminology I feel is fit, as the word alam is made manifest throughout the Quran when I see it. So I would have to have a clean and pure thought if I'm going to do some translating like that then, huh? Because there's so many definitions in here, I can choose any one. You see? And this is what people have to learn about translations and transliteration. This is why you have to go into the text and study, deeper. You see? And it may be you that utilize these words in such a way that they may reach a people and raise them from the dead mentally, raise them from the dead spiritually. You see? So again, knowing, wise, malamun, malamatun, malamun, ma'allamun, the taught one, knowing, right? Wise. Alima, he knew. Alimta, thou knewest. Alimu, they knew. Alimatum, ye knew. Alimatumu, ye knew. Alamin, alimma, alimna, pardon self, we knew. Yallamu, he knows. Yallamuna, he will surely know. Talamu, thou knowest. Talam, thou knowest. Lam yalam, he knows. Not talamuna, you shall with certainty come to know. Nalamu, we distinguish, know. Yalamuna, they know. Yallamu. Again, this is just another reiteration of what has already been brought forth. And they keep going on to even Talamu, you know. Ilam, which is thou know. Ilamu, you know. Ulama, these be known. Alama, which is he taught. Alamatun, you taught. Alamta. And you can see that this definition is steady going on. So it either has to do with you knowing, or it has to do with them knowing, or it has to do with you knowing and teaching people to know. So when you know, first and foremost, you must be what you know. That's why we say, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. No, they destroyed for a lack of the truth, because there's plenty of knowledge out there. And the only reason they didn't get the knowledge because they rejected it, because it did go on to say, since you have rejected knowledge, then I will reject you and your seed after you. So I keep telling our people, you sentence the youth to a hellacious condition if you pass that ignorance down to them that you learn from those who were not so wise or so knowledgeable. So we have been given an opportunity to plant new seeds within the hearts and minds of our people. But some of us still want to use the same thing that was utilized to enslave us in the first place. And that is the knowledge of a God being outside of us. So it even went on to Ilman, information learning, Alimun, who knows, Ulama again, learn ones, Alamuna, learn ones, Ilam, Al-Ilam, the one who knows, and knowledge is a permanent feature of his personality. So it's one thing to have knowledge, but another thing to be fixated in knowledge. One of the excellent names of Allah, Alam, well known, Malum, known. It's still going, family. You see how long that definition is right there? Goodness gracious. It even goes so far now. Look at it now. Now it's talking about when you get way down here. Actually, on this side, it's dealing with making known your knowledge, manifesting your knowledge. This is powerful, family. All I can say. We can go on and on with it, but I want to go into some of the measures that I have here. We're going to start with the ancient and come into the modern. There's one that is known as Ibn Arabi, and we demonstrate on the knowledge of Ibn Arabi. A lot of his information is taught, and you can also go into the teachings of Imam al-Ghazali. We can go into the knowledge of a few more that are mentioned when it comes to bringing this knowledge into the manifest as it relates to the mysticism, tasawwuf, and so forth and so on when you're dealing with Islam and Islamism. And it states here, know yourself according to the Quran and Sunnah. It says in Ibn Arabi's view, and this is one, of knowledge, who was raised as a mystic among the Muslims. And we say Muslims. Islam, Grand Secretary of the State.
Pardon itself, National Assistant Grand Chief. Did you want your display on a smaller box in your screen?
Okay, yeah, I can do that. I forgot it goes.
No, yeah, it's in the small box, not the entire screen.
Okay, goddess. Thank you.
Gratitude.
Let me blow it up right now and let me know if it's showing up bigger right now.
Oh, that's perfect.
Okay, gratitude. Yeah. I wish you would have told me that earlier.
Sorry about that. I hate to interrupt you. And also you were going like in and out too, okay?
Okay, let me hit this then and make sure it goes like it should. Okay. There we go. Let me let it settle for a second and it should fire up. All right. Can y'all hear me now clearly on the conference call, family?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. Gratitude. Pardon self.
Oh no, all is well, all is well. So as we were going into this, and we just were beginning on this, so we can go into this measure right here, family. And it states abstract, know yourself is a principle that many theosophists, even before Socrates, have emphasized upon it, but the philosopher's approach to this principle is different from that of the mystics. According to the philosophers, the self is nothing but the soul in a general concept. Al-Knives, we talked about the knives many times. It says, so for them, self-knowledge is known as a kind of psychology, a branch of knowledge among others. But for the mystics, especially for Ibn Arabi, the real self is much deeper than the soul. And self-knowledge is the ultimate goal of mysticism. This paper will address the following questions from Ibn Arabi's point of view. What is the source of this principle? Know yourself. What does it entail in terms of a goal? What is meant by itself in it? And what is meant by knowledge? How can we know ourselves? Now, I'm going to go through certain aspects of this right here. And then because I don't want to go through this whole paper, but it's out there because it got 17 different pages in it. I'm going to touch on key measures in here because I have other things I want to bring forth within the time frame. But you can find this information out there. All you got to do is go into just the name Wadahat al-Wajud. You know, and in this paper, the importance of self-knowledge in Ibn Arabi's philosophy, the reliability of the two above mentioned hadiths for him, and these would be hadith Qudsi because they correspond with the Quran. And his different interpretations of them will be discussed in the context of his theory of oneness of being. Also, fana, which is the result of self-knowledge. When you actually deal with fana, this is when you dissolve everything that had to do with the manifest. This is when you come into oneness through deific will with the creator that we talk about in more science, which is the result of self-knowledge and will be discussed from Ibn Arabi's point of view, and his understanding of this term will be compared with the doctrine of annihilation. So this is the annihilation of attachments that have to do with being dependent upon this body. This is elevating beyond what we call materialism. Man is not the body nor the soul. According to other philosophical and mystical traditions, the key words of Ibn Arabi's soul and body union with God, oneness of being. It says the importance of knowledge. The search for knowledge is one of the most central concerns to Islam. The value of each human being is determined by the degree of his knowledge. The Quran asks, are they equal, those who know and those who know not? And the answer is self-evident. We already know those who are knowledgeable and those who are not knowledgeable are not equal. They are not alike. That is why that Rumi says, oh, my brother, you are nothing but knowledge. Other than this, you will only be only bones and flesh. This is why the chairman tell us it's not in flesh and bones to think or reason. It is something that is greater in you that is commanding. We can say command in chief, if you will, waging war against that lower self. Hence, as the prophet said, the search of knowledge, or search for knowledge, this is Prophet Muhammad. He said it's incumbent upon every Muslim. Knowledge is so important that God, counting and reminding his graces and favors, the first thing that he mentions is knowledge, and he introduces himself as the giver of knowledge. And he says the all-merciful, he taught and gave knowledge of the Quran. After that, he says he created the human being. Surah 55, ayahs 1 through 3. It means that knowledge is more important than the creation of the human being. In another verse, God says, I created jinn and mankind only to worship me. 51, ayah 56. Many commentators, such as Ibn Abbas, have reported from the Prophet that the meaning to worship me is to know me. So if the great God has proclaimed to man, know me before you worship me, and it even says it's a sin to not have knowledge of your creator, then we should thoroughly know who it is that we are submitting to. We're not merely submitting to a spook. We have to know the reality according to certainty. This is a branch of knowledge. When you deal with what we call Tawheed, the oneness of the Creator. How can you know the oneness of the Creator when you really don't know him? You can't learn the oneness of the Creator just because somebody told you that you was one with him. You have to learn the essence of that oneness and become one with it. You see? Other than that, you simply guess, or you simply believe like Barata Rabo. And we don't want to be like that. My sheik told me, my Moorish kin told me, but I can't rightfully be what I know. So knowledge is the goal of creation of mankind. This goal has no end and is not limited, such that the most knowledgeable of all human beings, the prophet, has been commanded to pray, my Lord, increase me in knowledge. That is why, in contrast to many Sufis who emphasize love more than knowledge, Ibn Arabi emphasized knowledge, and he says, God never commands his prophet to seek of anything except knowledge, since all good lies therein. It is the greatest charismatic gift. Idleness with knowledge is better than ignorance with good works. Knowledge is a divine attribute of all encompassingness. So it is the most excellent bounty of God. Hence God said in the story of Moses and Al-Khizr, he even had to teach Moses. He didn't know everything he thought he knew. The knowledge that Moses learned on the Al-Khizr was patience. Then they found one of our servants whom we have given mercy from us and whom we had taught knowledge from us. That is a mercy from us. So knowledge derives from the mind of mercy. You know, and it goes on. It says the object of knowledge. There are infinite things in the world which we do not know, which can be the object of our knowledge. On the other hand, we have a limited life and cannot seek knowledge of everything. We must seek the important knowledge, and we must begin from the most important one. And the most important and most necessary knowledge is the knowledge of God and the knowledge of everything which is in relation to God. The prophet used to pray, I seek refuge in God from a knowledge which has no use. Useless knowledge is that which is disconnected from its source and origin, that is divine reality. That is why Ibn Arabi says, by knowledge I mean only knowledge of God, of the next world, and of that which is appropriate for the world in relation to that for which this world was created and established. And as we saw, the aim of creation was knowledge of God. Ibn Arabi says, the prophet said, when God struck his palm between my shoulders, I came to know the knowledge of the late ancients and the later folk through that placing of the palm. And so through that striking, God gave him the knowledge of God. The knowledge of other than God is a waste of time, since God created the cosmos only for knowledge of him. More specifically, this is the case with what is called mankind and jinn, since he said clearly he created them to worship him. And we saw the meaning of to worship was to know him. You see, we're going to do this one right here, and we're going to go to our next phase in the information. 3. How can we have knowledge of God? We live in this physical world, and we have not any direct access to God, who is infinitely beyond this world. We can only know this world directly. This world is other than God. So, is the knowledge of this world a waste of time according to Ibn Arabi? The answer is no. Since no knowledge of God can be gained without an intermediary, which is other than God, so other than God is important for knowledge as God himself. According to the Quran, all things are signs of God. See, when you understand this right here, you understand what we mean when we speak of reading Medunetta according to reading the book of creation. Because everything in creation has attributes that are divine, if we are able to see those divine attributes by observing the creation. And when we observe the creation, this is a form of science. So therefore, this is the true aspect of dealing with what we would call in the present day STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Observe the creation. Observe the intelligent design behind the creation. And observe yourself and come into a greater understanding of yourself. And I guarantee that you know the God within. So it says they refer to God and point to him. According to Ibn Arabi, the root word alama, cosmos, alama, mark, he says we mentioned the cosmos, and you've seen these definitions in the one that I read in the Grand Dictionary of the Quran earlier. With this word, we give we give knowledge. Word to give knowledge. It says that by it we mean God has made it a mark. Ibn Arabi usually employs the term dalil, which is a synonym to ayah, a sign, which is proof. That's what dalil is. And it means that everything is a guide, directive, pointer, indication, signifier, evidence, proof, denotation of God. So the creation itself, everything in it represents a divine language as it is sign language. We ain't talking about moving your fingers in the air, neither. We talking about sign languages as they are directives again. So when we look at things, we should learn from situations and what we observe. Observation is what makes you a scientist of life. This is why a Moorish scientist is into the study of the self and everything in creation, the macrocosm and the microcosm. There's a balance. You see? And it means that everything is a guide, directed, pointer, indication, signifier, evidence, proof, or denotation of God. It is important that the verses of the Quran are also referred to as signs, or ayats, for one whose soul is in the manifestation of God. The whole cosmos is a book of God, the sublime. You see what I'm talking about? I'm gonna go ahead and hit this portion right here too. It says knowledge of the signs. The signs and verses of God are found in the Quran, but they are also found in the outside world, the macrocosms, and within ourselves. So we must understand the book of the macrocosm as well as the book of the microcosm. The Quran says we shall show them our signs upon the horizons and in themselves until it is clear to them that he is real. Why do you have to look within the creation and look within yourself to know that the great God is real? This is where your proof lies. It lies not in miracles. It lies not in supernatural acts. It lies in bearing witness to how you are fearlessly and marvelously made, the crown of his creation. Remember, spirit man is a thought of Allah made manifested in the flesh. Just as an angel is a thought of Allah made manifest in the flesh. A prophet is a thought of Allah made manifested in the flesh. And all of the teeming thoughts that become manifest are manifest from the plane of their own ethers. You see? That's if we going back to that common ancestral plane, huh? So the horizon refers to the world that we see outside us, while themselves refer to the world of inner experience. In Ibn Arabi's view, the basic sense of this verse is your signifier to the real is yourself in the cosmos. Surah 4, actually this is a hadith right here, 4 and 30, and this is actually dealing with Qudsi, because it's actually bearing witness to Quran itself, as opposed to just being something made up. Self and the cosmos are two realities within which real self-disclosure may be witnessed. You see? And he says the lawgiver turn you over the knowledge of yourself and the knowledge of God through his words. We shall show them our signs, and we are the signifiers upon the horizons and in themselves. Hence, he did not leave aside anything of the cosmos, for everything of the cosmos that is outside of you is identical, right, with the horizons or the regions around until it is clear to them that it is real, nothing else, because there is nothing else. So the world, which is other than God, comes into the picture only to the extent that one must know the other in order to gain knowledge of God. It says it means that the other must be known with a view toward God, and all things must be taken back to the one, which is God. Knowledge of other than God, knowledge of the horizons and of ourselves is an intermediate for knowledge of God. Philosophers and theologians deduce the existence of God from the existence of the world. They also deduce God's attributes from the attributes of the world. They have different arguments for this purpose. Each one of these arguments appeals to one of the aspects of the macrocosms or the microcosms. For example, from the existence of the good order in the world, they may deduce the existence of a knowledgeable designer, intelligent designer, right? Or from the existence of the motion in the world, they may deduce the existence of the unmoved mover. And from the existence of possible beings, which is the world, they deduce the existence of a necessary being, which is God, and so on. All of these arguments approach to the knowledge of God from the knowledge of, the horizons, and so this thing is deep here, family. But I want to go to my other measures here, dealing with this knowledge of self and this knowledge of God. Okay, here we go, right here. Okay, yeah, so we still open. Our brother Marcus Garvey spoke on Know Thyself as well. He was known as the John the Baptist who prepared the way for Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Yahushua will come again. Brother Marcus Mosai Garvey said, and this is from the Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey on Africa for the African. He says, for man to know himself is for him to feel that for him there is no human master. For him nature is his servant, and whatsoever he wills in nature, that shall be his reward. If he wills to be a pygmy, a serf, or a slave, that shall he be. If he wills to be a real man in possession of the things common to man, then he shall be his own sovereign. When man fails to grasp his authority, he sinks to the level lower than the animals, of lower animals. And whatsoever a real man bids him to do, even as if it were lower or of the lower animals, that much shall he do. If he says go, he goes. If he says come, he comes. By this command, he performs the functions of life, even as by a similar command, the mule, horse, the cow perform the will of their masters. For the last 400 years, the Negro has been in the position of being commanded even as the lower animals are controlled. Our race has been without a will, without a purpose of its own for all this length of time. Because of that, we have developed few men who are able to understand the strenuousness of the age we live. Where can we find this race of ours? Real men, men of character, men of purpose, men of confidence, men of faith, men who really know themselves. I have come across so many weaklings who profess to be leaders, and in the test I have found them but the slaves of a nobler class. They perform the will of their masters without question. To me, a man has no master but God. Man in his authority is a sovereign Lord. As for the individual man, so of the individual race. This feeling makes man so courageous, so bold, as to make it impossible for his brother to intrude upon his rights. So few of us can understand what it takes to make a man, the man who will never say die, the man who will never give up, the man who will never depend upon others to do for him what he ought to do for himself, the man who will never blame God, who will not blame nature, who will not blame fate for his condition, but the man who will go out and make to suit conditions, or suit conditions to suit himself. It says, oh, how disgusting life becomes when on every hand you hear people who bear your image, who bear your resemblance, telling you that they cannot make it, that fate is against them, that they cannot get a chance. If 400 million Negroes can only get to know themselves, to know that in them is a sovereign power, is an authority that is absolute, then in the next 24 hours, we would have a new race. We would have a nation, an empire, resurrected, not from the will of others to see us rise, but from our own determination to rise, irrespective of what the world thinks. So that was prophet, our brother Marcus Mosai Garvey. They did call him a prophet too, in the book of Athalie, but yeah, this was Marcus Garvey's breakdown on the knowledge of self. He told you, man, too, himself is a sovereign Lord. You see what I'm saying? So now, understanding this and understanding that even in the Grand Quran, we learn the Most High say, know me before you worship me. So your empowerment as a result of knowledge has to do with not just information that you acquire or what you accumulate, but a knowledge of the self. And you always hear me say knowledge means to know. And to know means to apply. And you hear me say, if you can't apply what you know, then you really don't know. It told you that too when we were speaking of Ibn Arabi. Useless knowledge is not what we look for. We're not looking for information simply to go back and forth with each other. You see, we're looking for information to change our conditions and make our condition better. That's the purpose of knowledge, family. So when we bring it back home and we understand that Prophet Noble Drew Ali said to the Moors, know thyself and thy Father God Allah, and we understand that this is a Kemetic principle, we say sutanote or sheruneta, know thyself. That was the original way. Powerful. Very powerful. Watch this. Let's go into the chapter. Look at what Prophet Noble Drew Ali said. Now, y'all already see that when we go back to the subject matter that we have on the manifest, family, and I'm just taking this off right here so we can actually get back to our actual chapter. We understand that our subject was dealing with raising your thoughts to infinite wisdom. What does you do this? What does you see omnipotence displayed before you contemplate your frame behold a part of Allah himself within thee. That's where your knowledge comes from. You see? Now watch this. Let's go back real quick. And then we're going to open up the floor after I bring forth this portion. After everything that was just said, now you know we just came out of the chapter dealing with religion. Why was it necessary for us to go through the concept of not understanding religion, but then coming out of that to know thyself? There's a reason Prophet Noble Drew Ali put these things in order. When he divinely prepared these teachings and he brought them forth, he did it in this order for a reason. Listen to what it says. Weak and ignorant as thou art, O man, humble as thou oughtest to be, O child of the dust. Wouldst thou raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom? Wouldst thou see omnipotence displayed before thee contemplate thy frame? Weak in ignorance as thou art, O man, Moorish American national, humble as thou oughtest to be. Fearfully and wonderfully art thou made. Praise therefore thy creator with awe and rejoice before him with reverence. Didn't it just state that we must know the creator before we worship the creator, yet we were created to worship the creator, and the worship really means to know. We were created to know the self, know the creator, know creation. Wherefore all of creatures art thou only erect. Out of everybody else, you the one standing erect. They say, well, the ape walk erect. Not all the time. He go down on all fours at certain time, and then he stand up and he walk upright. Bears can do the same thing. They got dancing dogs out here right now. Go to TikTok, you'll see dogs doing the hula. So don't let it fool you, people. We stand upright for a reason. When we get up, we can walk for miles upright. So don't get it twisted. Even a kangaroo can stand upright, and if they want to, they can bounce off their tail and give you the business. So, wherefore all creatures thou art thou only erect, but that thou shouldest behold his works, wherefore art thou to behold, but that thou mayest admire them. Wherefore to admire, but thou mayest adore there in thy creator. And this is talking about observation of creation. That's what admiration is. Wherefore is consciousness reposed on thee alone, and whence it is derived to thee. You the one that's conscious. Everything in creation outside of you exists, but you are the one that is conscious enough to change your condition and govern creation. You think that's by chance? Now keep thinking that you an ape and a monkey. I ain't seen an ape and a monkey build a civilization yet. And they supposed to have been here longer than we have, huh? It is not in flesh to think, in bones to reason. Didn't he just say that? Ibn Arabi said the same thing. The lion knoweth not that the worm shall eat him. The ox perceiveth not that he is fed for slaughter. It don't know that it's going to go through these processes. Can you imagine that? The lion, king. Some people say king of the jungle. Some people say that now. And they got some people say other animals are. But they say the lion is supposed to be one of the most powerful, and sovereign that it is. But he going to get ate by ants. Just like everything else in creation that die and decompose. It says something is added to thee, unlike to what thou seest. Something inside of you other than what you can see. Something informs the clay higher than all is the object of thy senses. So higher than everything is the object of your senses. Behold, what is it? The same thing that was placed in you. The body remained perfect after it is fled. Therefore, it is not no part of it. It is immaterial. Therefore, it is eternal. It is free to act. Therefore, it is accountable for its action. Now you understand what it means to demonstrate the actions of the soul, the immortal virtues of the soul. But we know the soul is nothing more than spirit vibrating at a slower rate. And spirit is nothing more than soul vibrating at a rapid pace. Knoweth the ass the use of food because his teeth mow down herbage? Or standeth the crocodile erect, although his backbone is as straight as thine? No, crocodiles move on a horizontal. You move upright. Allah formed thee as he formed these. After them were thou created. Superiority and command were given thee over all. And of his own breath did he communicate to thee the principle of knowledge. This is where your knowledge come from, through the holy breath. The knowledge of the spirit that has been placed in you. That's why I said, know thyself in the pride of his creation, the line uniting divinity and matter. Behold a part of Allah himself within thee, and remember thine own dignity, nor dare descend to evil and to meanness or meanness. And they be like, Brother Commission, man, how you can stand up when the one be cussing you out and you still can be, man, that's a powerful demonstration. It's because we understand who made us. We understand what it means. I keep telling you, a lion don't care nothing about what a lamb think. All they see is lamb chops. So I took a picture next to a lion one time. And that lion stood there, wouldn't move a bit. He didn't feel intimidated by my presence or nothing because he's a lion. You know what I mean? He didn't see no threat. So last but not least, who planted terror in the tail of the serpent? Who clothed the neck of the horse with thunder? Even he who hath instructed thee to crush the one under thy feet and tame the other to thy purpose. And we already know about crushing that serpent under your feet, because it talked about that in the book of Genesis, didn't it? The heel catcher. That's the name Yaqub. Ain't that the name Yaqub? Heel catcher. Yeah. And then taming the other to thy purpose, the horse. But really, this is symbolic. This is symbolic to the concept of dealing with understanding the soul and the actions of the soul. You see? So we just want to say gratitude, family, when it comes to dealing with the knowledge of the self. Know thyself. This is the first thing that we have to master in order to become executive rulers, in order for us to take control of our own destiny. Because if not, we will always be what somebody else told us that we know. And that's a no-no. We don't want to be Barata Rabo. So, that being said, family, we just want to say gratitude to you. It's an honor to those who gave a listening ear. And at this time, we're going to open up the floor so that we can hear from our family, on the call, and our family on the panel. So let me get this right here straight. I'm going to stop sharing this. And there we go. All right. So we ready, family. For all who have something to bring to the manifest, *6 your phone.
Islam,
Islam, Sister Curtis Bay. I'm gonna drop this link in here too, just in case some of our family in the audience want to say something too.
Islam. Yeah, they should have a lot to say. I tell you, this was a powerful class tonight. Islam, Dr. Dendra Curtis, baby. First, let me rise and give praises to our great God Allah. I give honors to our holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali. I give honors to Act One. I give honors to all my government officials, and I give honors to you, National Sister Grand Chief. I tell you, for this powerful class. And I say the same thing when you talk about, I say, wow, look how our prophet is lining these chapters up. Because like you said, I say the exact same thing. I say, we just come out of the chapter on religion, and now he giving me holy instructions to know thyself. I'm like, man, you can't do nothing with our prophet. I just love our prophet. And your subject. Wow. What if thou raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom? And just that sentence right there. What if thou raise thy thought? He didn't say to wisdom. He said to infinite wisdom. That's powerful right there. And then you say, what if thou see the omnipotence displayed before thee? In other words, you talked about just looking around yourself and seeing the presence of the great God Allah. If you got eyes to see. See, everybody don't see Allah in everything. But when you know who made you, when you know where you come from, you can look up in the stars and you can see Allah. You can look at the trees. You can look at the animal. You can look everywhere in the universe or on this earth, and you will still see Allah if you got eyes to see. Everybody don't have eyes to see. And this is just amazing to me. I'm telling you, and God, man, I tell you, we done been over these chapters so many times. And I tell you, every time, each chapter, every time I read it, it goes deeper and deeper. As some people like to say, go higher and higher. I tell you, I can't get enough of reading these chapters. It's like I done read chapter 58, I don't know how many times, but it looked like I'm just not seeing this. I didn't see this 3 years ago. I did not see all of this 2 years ago. I did not see this last year. And I'm telling you, it's just so powerful. What we are studying, and last but not least, because I know our most keen is biting at the bit to come on and give they measure. I loved it when you was talking about when you say have knowledge of self, and then you will have self mastery. And I thought about having self mastery when you know thyself, like the prophet has instructed us. He say, study self, and then you come back and ask him what to study. He say, you study yourself again, and man, that took me to another level because of my department, because of the calling on my life. I love healing and stuff. And I'm like, oh man, and you mentioned about Allah, the Father of all worlds. And I thought about, you got a whole world within yourself. You got a whole world within your cells and within your body. And when you have a knowledge of self, you have that self mastery. You can know what to do for you to walk in total health. You can heal your own body. Your body was created to heal itself. Oh, Dr. Shahid, I tell you, this is such a powerful class. I can just go on, and as you can see, I'm getting excited. When I get excited, I get to rambling and stuff. But this is such a powerful class. I definitely will be going back, listen to this playback, and playing it over and over. And I encourage my most kin to do the same, and to share this wisdom, to share this knowledge. Those of you, I've been sharing it on my little phone. I've been sharing it, y'all. I've been trying to share it with everybody. So share this information so our people can get set free, so our people can get these truths that's coming forth on these classes 7 days a week. So gratitude, God, man, for letting me share Islam. This is a wonderful class, Islam.
And Islamism, God, woman, that's a powerful measure. And we want to let our family see too, those who observe us and watch us. Do y'all notice that anytime somebody demonstrate up here and they give their portion of the understanding, you don't see nobody cutting in and butting in. And we trade information because steel sharpens steel, scimitar sharpens scimitar. And so I'm learning from those who give their feedback. You see what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with learning. We sitting here listening to our people because we ain't got to get up here and try to trump each other. That's a sign of true knowledge right there. We don't feel threatened by each other. We feel elevated and elated when we deal with it. And all of us thinking our original thought. Ain't nobody telling us what to think and how to think. We exercising our own fire. And we demonstrate. This is the type of discipline we demonstrate. You see, that's the only way you can build a nation, family. We give honors to your sister Curta Bay and our Assistant Grand Secretary of the State. Gratitude, Goddess and Queen, for all that you do, all that you've done, and all that you will do. Islamism without the schism. Well, all right. The floor is still open, Moors.
Islam.
Islam, Sister Annie Jean.
Islam. I'm holding this is Divine Minister Annie Jean Swanson Bay of the North Carolina Territory of Marsh America Government. I rise and give all praises to our Father God Allah and to his holy prophet, our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El Haj Sharif Abdul Ali. And honor to you, Grand Man, for bringing this class upon the manifest. Honor to our Marsh America government, our flag, our emblem, everything that make up Marsh America. I give honor to it. I give honor to all the official citizens in kin. And as we talking about know thyself, our prophet was telling us, excuse me, in Haiti, the Marsh America are a true nation of people. He said, I forgive you of everything that you did before you came. Now you are responsible for your deeds. Moors are not held accountable for the oaths taken and deeds done while they was in a coma and without knowledge of self. And our holy prophet went on to tell us that I brought you everything it takes to save a nation, and he told us to take it and save ourselves. He told us to look at the saving power owned by all other nations of the earth. Free national name, flag, emblem, constitution, land, and etc. And now, as we ourselves, to know ourselves, there can't no one else know you but you. And in our Holy Quran, the Unity of Life, chapter 3, where it said the higher self is human spirit, clothed with soul, made in the form of Allah. The lower self, the carnal self, the body of desire, is a reflection of the higher self thought about in musket, either of the flesh. He said the lower self is an illusion and will pass away. The higher self is Allah in man, it will not pass away. So now, as we talk about the lower self breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms. The higher self is the mother of the virtue and the harmonies of life. And we have those two selves, with the higher self and lower self. See, the higher self is Allah in man, and the lower self represent
everything that is evil. And it does not represent what the higher self represents. So you see, all this here bickering and slandering and lewdness and murdering that is going on in the world today, stealing, and everything that harm is not the higher self. That is the lower self. That making people do those things. See? And you see, as our prophet tell us, that the lower self is give man apples that are lovely to the eye and pleasing to the smell. Their cars are full of bitterness and gall. And our prophet said, if you would ask me what to study, I would say yourself. And you would have studied them, and then would ask me what to study next. I will reply, yourself. And he said, he who knows well his lower self knows the illusion of the world, knows of the things that pass away. And he who knows his higher self knows Allah. And so quite naturally, as we know ourselves and we represent Allah, we cannot get out there and steal and kill and use slamming words. And so, as we talk about the church, now our prophet, he brought us this about our churches. He said, therefore, we are returning the church in Christianity back to the European nations, as it was prepared by their forefathers for their earthly salvation. Not for our earthly salvation, but for their earthly salvation. The European, not us. And you know, while there's so many people in the church today, because they do not know about Islam and Islamism. And so they stand in those churches. But our prophet also told us that anytime a more enter into a church, he is still, I would say, a more that, excuse me, I don't want to get mixed up. And our prophet explained to us, while we, the Moorish America, are returning to Islam, which was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation. And then even on, he said, the covenant of the great God Allah, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the earth's land, which the Lord thy God Allah has given thee. He told us, Asia Added, come on, ye Asia Added of America, and hear the truth about your nationality and divine creed. But you will learn to love and still hate. Our prophet is teaching us how to live and to, I'm trying to put it in the way the prophet is saying it. I'm not a good speaker. And so our prophet told us that even if we go into a church house, we still in Moorish America government. And so, as I said, you can visit the church, you know, you can dress the way you want to dress by going in a church. And so, our Bible told us about our religion. Our religion is an old-time religion, which is Islamism. And so, we know that we are in the right religion. And so, I don't want to take up much time, but I'm just getting confused with my speeches. Forgive me, Moors. And so, the thing is that he said, while we, the Moorish America, are returning to Islam, which was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation. And so our forefathers brought us Islamism, not the church, but Islamism. The church is also put out there by Christianity people, not for us Asiatic people. And so if they know that they're not supposed to be in those churches, they will come into Martial Miracle government and serve Allah the right way and follow Prophet Noble Drew Ali, who is the last prophet for our day, born January the 8th, 1886, in the state of North Carolina, United States. Our prophet, the seventh angel of Revelation chapter 10. And so they can read that in the Bible. Know that Allah has sent us a prophet for our day. This is a new era time now. This is what we are in now. The prophet brought us all of this to bring us out of mental slavery that we have today. And see, a lot of people don't understand that they is still in mental slavery. They're not thinking right. If they follow our prophet and do what he said, everything will be all right. Praise the Lord. Gratitude for allowing me to bring my message. Peace and love to all.
And peace and love to you, Sister Anna Jean. You speak very well, Goddess and Queen. Very powerful, too. Your words vibrate the ethers. Yes, sir. Every time you speak. And we give honors to you, Goddess. Because, yeah, every time a Moor enters the church, it ceases to be a church and it becomes a temple. And in the case of where we at, it becomes, a realm of divine teaching, so to speak. When a Moor is there and we executive rulers. So, we can take people into a high level of vibration with the science that we have and bring them right on into the consciousness of what it means to run a nation after being a part of a lawfully chartered organization. As the prophet said that the preachers and the masons and everything would fight him tooth and nail, but they can't win. They would be the last to accept his teachings. So the European, on the other hand, in most cases, they have done their bidding. And so they have used Christianity as their earthly and divine salvation. And it is done in nothing for us as a people. And that's why the prophet told us, like he said, return it back to the European. We want to give it honors to you, Goddess and Queen, and Sister Dendra near Curtis Bay. Because like I told both of you, sister, y'all revolutionized my mind. Because, I long was thinking, man, when our people get up in, the heights of time, they be like they in their ways. But you sisters, been changed my mind on that. Because y'all came on the front line of the prophet with y'all eyes wide open. And I'm always inspired to hear y'all speak. Because we know that y'all real and you're solid. So it don't get no plainer than that. That's why y'all who y'all are. Islam. And I think I heard Sister Cammie. Where you at, Sister Cammie?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can you hear me all right?
Oh, we can hear you loud and clear, Cammie. Show us that saving power.
Gratitude. Wait a minute. I gotta give honor to praise.
Mm-hmm.
This is Sister Cammie. I'm in this year. I honor and praise the great God. I rise, honor, and praise the great God, Allah. I honor the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And I honor citizens, officials, Moors here, there, and everywhere, including or especially my Moorish friends. My brain is going in a few directions, and I'm not sure of the topic because so many directions have come to me at once. What you want me to demonstrate on?
Oh, we want you to demonstrate that saving power, God woman. Know thyself.
Okay, spirit. Know thyself in spirit power.
mentioned previously that the spirit power, knowing ourselves, obey the prophet if you want to obey it while you're in the flesh, and obey Allah when you leave the flesh. If you put everything and trace everything back to the prophet, but you got to keep in mind I'm closer to 100 than 0. European can't win this one because they can't trace themselves back far enough in the descendant line. You mentioned church, preacher. I have more than one language in my mind. The church. You mentioned something about it being the Masons and all that there, and all that European worship and praise. When it comes to the church and sickle cell trade, you gotta have the drop of it in you to even understand it. You have to, not as much as a pocket of peanuts. That's the profit. Being industrious, maintaining employment if you are able. That's being industrious. That's not putting the European first or European job for yourself. I work 40 to 80 hours a week, and sometimes I can't make it. But I get paid for 40 because I'm salaried. But I work that many hours a week. When I call, sometimes my flesh is so tired that all I can do is listen to ministry. And I thank all of you and honor all of you for that. What else can you trace back to the prophet? Since Europeans like to mess with our technology. Let me get off these phones and stop recording, because European technology is how it's being recorded. If you don't have 50,000 plus technology to your access, you ain't the one that could possibly do what's happening as far as these technical difficulties. It's on my personal phone, my job phone, my internet connection. I get mail from other countries. When the United Nations contact me, which they did electronically about 3 months ago. Let me stand down. I'm going through something right now.
Praise be to Allah, sister. You already know. Thought is the cause of it all. And we give honors to you. Peace and love. What about our other Moorish kin? Is there any other Moor who would like to come forth and exercise their fire? The floor is still open. Islamism. Man, I'm loving this. All the goddesses and the queen. Come on in here.
Islam, grand man. This is Dr. Shakat Renee, my Aunt Bay. And I rise and give highest praises to our great God Allah. I give honors to our divine and holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, also known as El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali. I give honors to our Moorish American government flag, seal, and emblem, and our divine constitution and bylaws. I give honors to you, Dr. Shaheed, and this grand class. I give honors to all of Act 1, our Moorish citizens. I give honors where honors are due. And those that spoke before me, all the goddesses, and those that will speak after me. SubhanAllah, my voice is trying to go out. but I'm not going to let it. This is a grand class, and I am so grateful once again that I was able to.
Bless Goddess, I apologize for interrupting. Let your voice rest.
Islam, Sister Cammy. She all right, Sister Cammy.
Islam Goddess. I'm good. I am well. Islam. You brought so many points, God, man, it's wow. It's so much knowledge to be learned, and it doesn't matter how old we are. Know thyself. Oh my God, know thyself. The first thought that came to my mind about knowing thyself. So many don't know or can't go within. Don't know to go within. Don't know what's within. And I was thinking about one knowing what can trick them into going into the lower self, letting the lower self dominate them. And some of the things that came to mind from our life experience, seeing what will allow them to be tricked into going into the lower self, is when we see our family in pain or anything going on with our families, or especially our children. Don't do anything to our children. And with us, we have to say our children, our grandchildren, and our great-grandchildren. Money, pain, illnesses, all those things, and I'm sure there are others that will try to raise your lower self to dominate the higher self. And if we don't know what triggers our lower self, we don't know ourselves. And that's something that I think we as a people have to work on. All this naught that's going around and trying, the ego and the influence of social media, the influence of vanity and the media, period, television, television, is always making our people look like animals. It's always having us at each other's throat. The women are influenced by the Housewives of Atlanta and all of the reality shows that shows them that the way to be in a relationship is to bite the spouse's head off, to argue all the time, to have cosmetic surgery, to nothing that matters that would raise us to a higher level. And they don't seem to care. They don't even think about it. So knowing thyself, like I said, I see these things that can take ones off their square, that would make one not stop and think the consequences. Once you see, say, a family member in a situation or something, and then ones react without thinking, causing harm, causing death. And then, I've experienced myself the illness, going through pain, and praise Allah, I wasn't in a position where it brought me to my lower self. But what it does is make you question yourself, your self-esteem, and as my Moorish kids said, being in that church, they've always made us think that we are lower than what Allah made us to be. That trustees or the officials of the church always had a higher level of teaching or thoughts than the little peon congregation. It made us feel so low, like we could never do anything right. I praise Allah for these teachings. Once again, I was thinking about Ayat 5. I was looking at Ayat 5 and even the subject of the Ayat, weak and ignorant as thou art, O man, humble as thou oughtst to be. O child of the dust, wilt thou raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom, wilt thou see omnipotent displayed before thee, contemplate thine frame. And it seems to be lately that the media, the ones that are bringing to the forefront the results of studies of man, trying to make ones think that man came from an ape, that the DNA is similar to an ape's DNA, and putting those thoughts out there to make one question who made us and where we came from. But you raised a good point for, I won't say for argument, but for thought. When ones go that way, that we can't produce apes, and apes can't produce us. No matter how close the DNA that we have to anything else. Allah made our species of humans superior over anyone else. He made us Lord of the things made manifest. And I praise Allah for that and us learning that. And then I was thinking as well as you were teaching, and I haven't heard myself, but Yehudi is always listening to your forums and how ones come at you and everything, and the unconscious, the NBC's man, period, believes what he wants to believe. And I see that most of the time, if they don't have an open mind to receive the truth, they won't receive it. But they already have in their mindset what they want to believe. And, we have to break through that barrier as well, but it's still up to Allah. We can plant seeds, and Allah does the watering and the growth as He sees fit. And so praise Allah for you, Dr. Shaheed. Praise Allah for your endurance and your diligence. And I praise Allah for our Moorish American theocratic government. Peace and love to you and all the Moors online.
Islamism without the schism, Sister Saket Renanet Ma'at Bey. We give honors to you and the God man, Brother Yehudi. Yeah, it's definitely a grand measure. Yeah, especially with the ones, and a lot of them that's dealing with the arguments, they don't know that the same people that came up with the classification of, primates is the same people came up with the classification of the color scheme. The so-called black man, so-called Caucasian, the yellow man, and all that stuff came from the same people, pseudoscience, and a lot of it was based on scientific racism. First they say everybody evolved from the monkeys and the apes or whatever, but then they said, they use it as a derogatory term to refer to us. So, which one is it? So I guess you saying you would rather say we are ape ancestors than say that we were your true ancestors, when it comes to dealing with the European, So they try to cover that up. But what happened is, what they ain't really focusing on, most of the people, like I told them before, the common ancestor is the organism that everything in creation came from. And that's whales, other types of fish and birds and everything. All of them have a common ancestor when it comes to dealing with the organism, but when it comes to, and that's protoplast, but the protoplast mean first man form. So that means everything came forth from the human genome. It was still the root. But yet, when we get into these classifications where they talk about that common ancestor for that ape, they got their own common ancestor, just like we got our own common ancestor. And that's what they, and these are what they call speciation, classifications that they put up here. And so you got some people claiming to be from apes when it ain't even properly demonstrated. So yeah, they done lost their mind out here. But we the one that's to bring it back to them, though. You and the great God Allah is most definitely the one that's gonna wake them up. We give honors to you, sisters of Cat, and the tribe, man. Goodness gracious, we got a lot of work to do, but the prophet said it was enough work for all us to do. Islamism without the schism, and at this time, we give honors to all of our family that spoke. It's been a powerful measure, and now we're gonna go to our officials. And we're going to call forth Sister Offset Amun El, if she's present. Islam, are you there, Sister Offset? Okay, our sister most definitely about the business of our Father God Allah. So, okay, well, let us call forth
Islam.
Oh, there she go. Islam, goddess.
Islam, and gratitude, God man. First, let me rise and give all praises to Allah and all honors to our Prophet Noble Ali, honors to our Moorish American government, all officials of our government, and our citizens. Honors to you, National Assistant Grand Sheikh of Moorish America, Dr. Shadu Metia Muhaji Shepswell, for opening our conference call According to Law and bringing forth a grand Moorish perspective this evening. Honors to all our brothers and sisters that are guests on the platform, and honors to all our officials of our Moorish American government and our citizens, divine ministers, muftis, Act 1, and honors to our goddess the Queen, Dr. Ninja Neil Bay, for taking registration and reading the chapter of the week, and honors to all our citizens of Moorish America also. God, man, could you give me the topic, please?
Oh, yeah. Know thyself. The holy instruction of the prophet, know thyself. And we actually combine, our ayats. And so the subject title is actually dealing with the expression of wouldest thou raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom? Wouldest thou see omnipotence displayed before thee? Contemplate thy frame. Behold a part of Allah himself within thee. Islam?
Islam, gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Islam, contemplate thy frame. It's so ironic how you said that, because I was listening to all my Moorish kin bring forth the measures just now, and the first thing came to mind was know thyself, based on what I was hearing. And so, contemplating thy frame, and understanding that the divinity within oneself is essential to our unfoldment. The prophet gave us these divine lessons to unlock the God within. And so, to know thyself is to understand who made you, Allah. Understand why Allah made us. What is our purpose for being on this earth? One of the things our prophet taught us was to uplift fallen humanity, to learn to love instead of hate. Because we've been through so much trauma, so much maya, that most of us have forgotten how to love instead of hate. Because we was talking about that a few weeks ago on another subject matter, whereas you give people a complimentary offer to a system and they don't even want it. And they get offended, not listening to what you're saying and realizing that you tried to help them. So therefore you have to back off. And I've noticed that too, with our young goddesses, with their children. Some of them don't want you to tell their babies nothing. They don't even realize that a baby, it takes a village to raise a child. So we have lost that family connection, that unified connection when it comes to the thought of a nation of people. Most of us think that we are one to our individual self, and because we've been through so much trauma and nobody seems to want to help, and there's so much different things going on in the mind of a Moor these days that it's hard to sometimes reach them because they're so preoccupied with so much distractions and so much stress. And so that's what Prophet tells us, we must keep him out front. We must keep love out front because he understood what was coming. His days compared to today, the young folks, man, they're up against a whole lot. And then the parents trying to raise the grandbabies and the great-grandbabies. It's so much things going on. But that love and telling the truth is what unlocks that God within. Because even if they might not want to listen at that very moment that you're giving it, they'll go home and the thought will come right back to them. Why didn't you listen to what that person was saying? And then they realize the wisdom. And we just have to keep planting the seeds of truth within our people. Just giving them that love. Because eventually it's going to start to grow. They're going to start to unfold. We know our people are waking up, and our prophet is in full control of exactly how fast they wake up or how slow one wakes up. We can't control that because the prophet said, don't worry about how you can be saved, just know it's going to be accomplished that cannot be told in words. And he said that so that we don't spend a lot of time dwelling on that woulda, coulda, shoulda. Been there, done that. We have to focus on the mission at hand, and the mission is to free ourselves from up underneath this Roman yoke and law, underneath this Maya, this de facto citizenship that our people think they have and don't realize that they're not really citizens. And then we have the diets, and we have, man, there's so much different ways to reach a brother and sister. We just have to keep planting them seeds, whichever way we can. Once we discern the character of one, just give it to them whichever way you deem fit at the moment, whichever way Allah leads you, the Prophet leads you, just give it to them because they need it. And that's the only way we could bring forth that truth that our Prophet gave us, to give it to them. So, and we always have to use our divine laws of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. That's why our Prophet gave us these lessons, because he knew the soul has to be recultivated, because what we've been through, man, that DNA memory is serious. And our people don't know how to meditate. That's a whole nother level. See, so much different ways, but we just got to keep the love up front more and just keep doing the work. Islamism, gratitude for calling me forth. Just love to all my Moorish kin.
And Islamism, and gratitude to you as well, sister, for that measure. Praise be to Allah. Islamism without the schism. All right. All right. But let us call forth our national Grand Mufti, Dr. Kanshu Ma'ak Heru Bey. Islam, Grand Man.
Islam.
Islamism. You there?
Gratitude. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We got you now.
Oh, praise Allah. We rise, first and foremost, giving all thanksgiving, adoration, worship, and praise to our Father God Allah, the great God of the universe, the most beneficent and the most wise, and we give the highest honors that we can give to his prophet, our prophet, the last prophet in these days and in these times, Prophet Noah Drew Ali, the savior of humanity. We give honors to his forerunner, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and we give honors to his government, our government, the Moorish American government, the government in which we live, according to Act 6. We give honors to the officials of this said government, our divine ministers, swift angels, our mufti, our royal council, our secretaries. We give honors to our citizens, the Moorish Americans. We give honors to our flag, to our divine constitution and bylaws, our holy Quran, our Grand National Seal and Grand National Emblem, our Book of Fire, the Exhuman of the Nation. We give honors to everything that is Moorish. We give a special high honor to you, National Sister Grand Sheik, for bringing forth this grand Moorish perspective this evening. We give honor to all of our Moorish kin who have spoken before us, and to our Moorish kin that will speak after us. We give honor to you, angels. We just continue to give the honors where they're due, and honor all true and divine prophets. And we give honors to our ancestors as they have come before us, leading the way. And we are them today without doubt or contradiction, because no one has the power to change man from his descent nature, and praise Allah for that. It's been a grand class, Mo, and definitely from a Moorish perspective, this is a grand question. And, you know, that ayat 1 to me is just so powerful in its declaration of, at least how I observe it, is of saying, you know, as humble as you ought to be, you want to see something so grand, you really want to see, you bored, you know, you want to see something that's so spectacular, you know, contemplate your frame, look at yourself. You know, you don't believe there's a God, just look at yourself, and it's just a testament to the glory of Allah, and really, you know, how much we still have to learn, because every one of us, all here knows that we don't know 100% about ourselves, about our bodies, about our mind. Like, we still question some things. We seek all these other things, but we still question, like, even the basic things, like, can you truly say that you are a meat eater, or plant eater, or, you know, can you truly, do you have an argument for yourself that you can use to define yourself as, you know, this is what I'm supposed to eat according to who I am and my body makeup. Most of us don't even have that basic understanding. We just go off of what we've been told by these Europeans and everything that they tell us, especially when it comes to dealing with the self, has to do with how they look at themselves, not how they look at us. You know, it's not an exploration of us. They're telling you about themselves, and this, even in their history, you know, it's always given a European perspective of history or world point of view. It's the same way when it comes to the exploration of what it means to be human, and they're giving it to you from their perspective, how they look at themselves, not how they look at us. And so we have to we have to look at how we've been using definitions that have to do with us defining ourselves, and those definitions don't even contain evident source of pertaining us. It pertains to something else. It pertains to someone else. And so we get in the off view. And this is why it's so important that one has to contemplate their own frame. Look at the glory of how Allah made you. You know what I mean? Get what the other people talk about. Look how this, I mean, there's so much wisdom and knowledge in just if you just understanding yourself. Why God made you, as one said to me, the Lord is the plane of soul and the plane of things made manifest. And how is that even possible? He didn't give that to nobody else. And so this is why we the most studied people on the planet, because they know. But they're not giving us a perspective of self-exploration. Anytime we think about self-exploration from our perspective, they get it to us from their perspective. And so we have to take it upon ourselves to give our people the literature, the leadership that truly expresses, like we're doing here on our Moorish perspective, a point of view that comes from ourselves. So we can truly see the glory of what God has made for us, and not through the perspective of someone who's trying to hide it. I hide all the brilliant, genius, creativity, and love that Allah has, truly blessed us with. So it's been a grand class. Gratitude. I just want to add that because just the ayah, like I said, itself makes one look at, what is you really looking for something to do. Look at yourself. You still got so much to learn, even about yourself. So gratitude, Sister Grand Sheik. Gratitude to you, Moorish America, for being here with us, giving us your time, attention, and respect. We love you. Islam and peace.
Islam and peace. Brother Grand Mufti, before you go, I was listening to you, brother, and I see you be tuning in. You know something I noticed, good brother, Grand Mufti? You have ones when you demonstrate, the only thing they can say against what's before them is, man, you coming from your own research. As if something wrong with that. I be like, what? But the research that they done took from other men, they upholding, right? But I can't do my own research. Ain't that's crazy? They say I don't play fair because I do my own research. That's crazy.
That's craziness in itself, thinking that someone else's perspective is going to give you a better understanding than your own eyes.
Goodness gracious. That what made me say, I'm done. I ain't talking to you no more. What's the use of even talking to you? Oh, you don't want to talk now? No. For what? Man, we gonna keep putting that truth out there, because it's a lot of our people waking up, brother. So we give honors to you, brother. Yes, sir, man. And I love to hear my Grand Mufti speak, because he always come with that practicality and reality. And honors to you, brother, and the tribe. And speaking of practicality and reality, let me get my scimitar swinging Grand National Secretary of the State up in here. Sister Shepsut Rakat Ma'at and Pooh Toot the Coming Bay. Islam, you there, goddess and queen? Arm to the leg, arm, hitter.
Praise Allah. Oh my goodness. Islam National Assistant Grand Sheik of Moorish America, Grand Class, Islam Family, Moorish Kin. First of all, I want to rise, giving all praises to our Father God Allah, giving honor to our Prophet, Noble through Ali, the last prophet in these days and times, giving honor to our Moorish American government, all of our officials, staff, Swift angels, muftis, divine ministers, most especially our Moorish kin. Giving honor to our family online, giving honor to our National Assistant Grand Sheik of Moorish America, Dr. Shedawa Menti, Al-Muhajjid Shepsawel, for opening our meeting according to law and also hosting a Grand Moorish Perspectives class this evening. To our National Grand Secretary of Indiana, Dr. Sayanati Nuhet Haru L, for taking registration and reading our subject chapter for the week. Giving honor to all of our Moorish kin that brought forth their special measure, and again, our family online. This has been a grand class, I tell you. So many blessings and keys coming forth. Our subject matter, wouldst thou raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom? Wouldst thou see omnipotence displayed before thee? Contemplate thine frame. Behold the part of Allah himself within thee. So these questions coming from our Creator, coming through our Prophet Noble Drew Ali, is explaining the process on how to demonstrate. And, as our Morris Ken was bringing forth. And Dr. Shahi, when you just went through the history, showing that golden cord of love in reference to all of these holy records, our ancestors, forefathers, and coming on down the line, the prophets, etc., have that basic principle in reference to know thyself. And when I first heard that term, didn't have a clue because I was coming from a unconscious mindset, looking outside of myself. And when we speak about know thyself is the most important thing. We know that here in the West, they have so many distractions, that you get to studying everything outside of the self, and no one, I know for me, prior to the advent of the prophet, no one said anything about studying myself. I would have told you then, well, hey, my name is da-da-da, I know me, you don't know me, straight up manifest level, but recognizing that we can get beyond competition, illusions, and all of these pacifiers of the mind and distractions out here. And all of the ancient records tell us to go within, to study the self. So when we find out that we are just basically, or have been just scratching on the surface, and the true treasures, the divine treasures, are actually within ourselves. So when you find out that, or become conscious that you and your Creator are one, and you are one with the universe, then who is it that can take you off the count? Because spirit man can't die, so we transcend that carnal flesh, because this plane is the slowest plane that there is. And when you get to hearing various records in reference to 1 hour of knowledge is better than 1 whole day of prayer, and the more that you receive as far as knowledge is concerned, which unfolds into wisdom and understanding, then you can no longer be misled, by falsehood and things outside of the self. The other blessing for me is dealing with that oneness of being. When you are able to see yourself as part of the universal order of things, when you are able to see the God within each other, then you don't have a problem. I can't get along or trying to compete, because gods don't compete. If you have everything, why is there a need to compete? Then it takes you off of that carnal thinking or that manifest level. And it causes you to, as we say, keep it above the neck, or stay in tune with your Creator. And Marcus Garvey's demonstration that you brought forth, man has no master but God. Man is a sovereign Lord. And this was the forerunner of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. So if we're looking at it from the right perspective, not stating that, hey, you ain't got no jurisdiction over me, or I be this, I be that. Coming from a position, that's the first thing. Weak and ignorant as thou art, humblest as thou oughtest to be. So when you humble yourself at the footstool of truth, when you open yourself to recognize that, hey, I don't know, let me be still enough to learn, then you are actually unfolding into the wisdom within yourself, which is that God within you. And so when the instruction or the mandate is given from our Creator to contemplate, examine it, think on it, study on it, stop being what you are told, but be what you know. That way, nobody can take it from you. And you got to recognize the fact that you and your Creator are one. So this is just a grand class. Much gratitude to you, Dr. Shahi, for bringing these keys and measures forth. Much peace and love to all of our Moorish kin. And our National Grand Sheikh is still on a mission. Gratitude, peace, and love.
And Islamism. Yes, sir. We had a grand drawing with the grand man earlier. We know he on the way back. But yeah, praise be to Allah. That's a powerful measure, Grand National Secretary of the State. Allah is leading on in victory is sure. Man, and speaking of Allah leading on in victory is sure, now we know what the reality is. Let us call forth our Grand National Chairman, Dr. Akin Pert M. Heru, Tutankhamun Bey. Islam, you there, grand man?
Close as the thought if you can hear me.
Did you miss me?
Alhamdulillah. You rise, give praise to Allah and on the Prophet Noble Ali. Say much honor to Noble Ali for bringing us his Moorish American nationals everything that it takes to save a nation. He brought us our own government, our own divine constitution, our own history, forefathers, everything. And more is just a mighty, mighty mission, to be able to give praises to Allah. And this is our doorway to infinite wisdom, because now we know what it means to tell the truth. And we know what it means to be the truth, to be the message that you bring. Contemplating your frame was it's just a wonderful message. This has been a magnanimous journey. And I want to thank everyone for being on the class this evening, because the thoughts of Allah are one. And it's all about love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It's all about the things that it takes to measure yourself along the way. And we are the truth made manifest. So it's an honor, blessed more. And I want to thank everyone for your love and your part of the journey today and always. Islamism without the schism.
And Islamism without the schism, grand man. We give honors to you, Grand National Chairman of Moorish America, the only chairman of Moorish America. We give honors to you for all that you do. Well, all right. Well, we want to give honors to our family and everybody who checked in tonight. As it's now time to take this measure to a high state of vibration. We want to first give honors to our National Grand Sheikh, Dr. Serapis Amin Rael, for all it is that he has done and everything that he will do and everything that he will continue to do, because we know he got a magnanimous blessing and a lesson to bring back to us family, as he always do. So at this particular time, we'll go on to the next degree of unfoldment. January 15, 1929. A warning from the prophet to be read at every meeting. I hereby inform all citizens that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work in their homes or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any citizen or group of citizens who hold malicious feelings toward the government or the prophet or violate the covenant of the subhanAllah, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law that's laid down to them by their prophet. And if they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where our prophet found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the government is not right. The prophet therefore is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the government. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. By order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, we bring forth this divine decree. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Chapter 25. A holy covenant of the Asiatic nations. Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care. In the breasts of one mother have given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Moorish movement, divine movement, everlasting movement. Go in peace, Muslims. We love you.
Grand class.
And we love you too. Great class, National Assistant Grand Chief. Great class. Love all you.
Great class. Don't forget to pay your dues, Moors. Don't forget to pay your dues. Love you, Moors.
Love you.
Peace and love.
Love you, Chief. Grand measure. National Grand.
Great class.
Love all you Moors. And don't
This lesson is no longer being recorded.
Islam.
And to the sister, love all y'all. Do the headquarters.
Love, family.
Peace and love, boys. See y'all in Sunday school. Islam, Brother Marvin Edwards, baby.
No way, so clean to me.
Islam. Gratitude. Peace and love. We want to give honors to our family also out there in social media. Brother Arnil Bay. We want to give honors to our beloved family, our Facebook user, Dod Assyrian, Ikrian Bay. Gary Miles Bay, we give honors to you too. Arkea, want to give honors to you, family. Marvin Nathaniel Edwards Bay. Also, American Industries, honors to you as well. Marty Buntus, honors to you, honors to our brother Jehudi Bay. We love your family. See you in the next session. Peace and love.